To Jonathan Sacerdoti. I love having Jonathan on because he can make sense of this. He's a UK political commentator extraordinaire. But Jonathan, the one thing I always am amazed at in Britain is how quickly, when it changes, it changes. There isn't this period between election and an inauguration like we have in this country. It's immediate. Why is that?
Yeah, no insurrection either. But if I may say, I think that really this is part of the beauty of the British system. It has its own peculiarities, but generally there's a peaceful handover of power. And we saw that happen. We saw Rishi Sunak stand on the doorstep of 10 Downing Street, giving that speech where he handed over to Keir Starmer, paid him his dues, said that he is a responsible man committed to public service. And similarly, we saw Keir Starmer come in, stand in exactly the same spot and praise Rishi Sunak for what he had done in the job. So definitely in that sense, we do seem to have got some things right, though there are people with plenty of complaints about the system in other respects, not least Nigel Farage, who managed to get a very large portion of the popular vote, but only 4 actual seats in Parliament because of the first-past-the-post system. So pluses and minuses.
You know, it is interesting, and you and I were just chatting about this. You know, there's this populist wave going on in Europe, much of the world right now, and it seems to have more of a right-wing sort of a flavor to it. But the fact of the matter is you could just interpret it as much to say it's to throw the bums out where things don't seem to be working. In your fine country, yet it was a largely liberal government that stayed in place in Mexico because Mexicans seem to be fine with it. So it doesn't always work out that way. But there was obviously, a serious anger issue that the Conservatives couldn't contain. What went wrong?
And it's not just anger. Remember, we've had the Conservative government for 14 years, but we've had 5 prime ministers in that period, and quite a few of them just in the last couple. So following Labour's landslide victory in that general election, there's actually been a sense of relief among the markets as well, because I think it's shown a positive reaction that indicates a level of investor confidence in a period of stability after years of volatility under the Conservatives. Just think back to the volatility experienced under Liz Truss's tenure, very short-lived time in office. And that, as a result, has meant that the FTSE 100 rose by 0.4% at the opening, reflecting a positive initial reaction. And that reaction isn't echoed only in the markets. It's also, I think, among many people. So more people here were voting, I think, for a period of stability, for a change, after what they've seen as a chaotic period towards the end, especially of Conservative government. And it was more of a change they were voting for rather than the Labour Party itself. The markets would not normally have reacted to a Labour win like this, but I think it was such a decisive one that it suggests something much more certain.
And I'm wondering, Jonathan, also is a reflection that maybe this could be potentially a different Labour government. You never want to go that far, but I was hearing Mr. Starmer talking about you now have a government unburdened by doctrine. He went on to say this is a trend that we recognize must be more lightly on your lives. In other words, don't go too far. The rap against more liberal governments is that government does go too far. Do you think he means what he says? Some have likened it to a more Tony Blair approach, a Bill Clinton approach in this country. How would you define it?
He's saying that now, unburdened by doctrine, but, you know, he's also spoken about putting 20% VAT on private schooling, which is going to be a massive move that will anger many who enjoy the benefits of private education. You're talking about a value-added tax, but go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, until now in the UK, people who chose to pay to send their children to schools did so without that extra tax. Now the Labour Party have said they'll introduce that. Of course, will price many of them out of the ability to be able to do that. That is something which is doctrine. It's obviously left-wing doctrine. He has every right to, as a left-wing socialist-led party. But I think the suggestion that the Labour Party that has just won this massive majority will necessarily stick to that for too long, well, that might be wishful thinking. On the other hand, I think that here in the UK, the closer to the centre you are, the more likely you are to win and to maintain power. Both sides know that. And I think that's what Keir Starmer is trying to do here. He's trying to reassure people, reassure markets, reassure the whole world that this isn't a swing to the far left like it would have been under his predecessor, Jeremy Corbyn. And I think so far he's managed to do that. And as I said, I think the markets have reflected that. Compare it, for example, to what's going on in France and the rest of Europe. The swing to the far right in France, and also the second place taken by the far left has created a high level of uncertainty when it comes to that. And the UK's comparative stability for now contrasts with that sort of uncertainty in Europe quite starkly.
Got it. Jonathan, great catching up with you, my friend. Jonathan Sacerdoti.